I see we're joined by Isaac Kofi again now as the head of research at Joy News right there in Ghana. Great to have you on the show.
Great to be here.
So what would you say are the main factors, that have driven Ghana's inflation rate down for 12 straight months? And do you see, these trends continuing in 2026?
Well, first of all, there is two pass-through effects. First one coming from the external side, where if you look at imports, duties in Ghana, they've actually gone down significantly after the currency saw that stability. And the other, pass-through effect has to do with the strengthening of the Ghanaian, cedi against, major trading currencies like the dollar, the euro, and the pound. But significantly, it's as a result of the strengthening of the currency, which gained more than 41% against the dollar in the year 2025. And that was actually the first time since 1994 that Ghana, the local currency of Ghana actually had a cumulative appreciation against the US dollar.
So how significant has the decline in food inflation, been in influencing the overall inflation rate? And what does this mean for, household cost of living pressures? When you go to the markets, can you feel the drop?
Well, I'm sure Ghana has actually, come from a very long journey of turbulence, where in 2022 and somewhere 2023, inflation was as high as 54%. But currently, we are talking about a single digit of, 5.4, 5.3%, and even outside the target of the central bank, which is 8% plus or minus 2. And in fact, if you look at this single digit and you try and do some level of analysis to see whether the ordinary Ghanaian is feeling it, if you can use certain indicators to test, that kind of temperature. If you come to the Ghanaian economy currently, I would say that this is being felt, realistically on ground, because if you go to the pumps, for instance, in 12 months, fuel prices have dropped by more than 40%. And if you actually transpose that into transport fares, also going down by more than 20% since last year, that tells you that, well, if you go to, fuel prices are dropping, transport fares are also dropping, and that is actually reflecting, in prices that currently Ghanaians are paying for. But there's still some level of, risks in terms of even still having a single-digit inflation, because mind you, once your inflation is coming down, using that, that level of force, it means that the central bank would then have to follow through with policy rate cuts. And we saw that happen in 2025, where because inflation was tanking, very fast, the central bank had to cut monetary policy and the policy rate cumulatively by 1,000 basis points. I don't know any central bank in Africa that cuts rates by that significant magnitude than Ghana did. And so you see some level of risk also attached, even though we are enjoying single digits. But if you ask me if the ordinary Ghanaian is feeling it, the fact that people are buying less, paying less when they go to the pumps, they can save about 40% of what they used to pay for. If importers goes to the port, they are clearing their goods at a relatively lower price. That is actually affecting prices. So if you ask me if this is being felt, I would say that, well, relatively, that single-digit inflation is being felt.
All right. It should be nice, to feel single-digit inflation, here. But, looking, at the economy generally, we're seeing items such as, plantain and charcoal. They've recorded, larger price, increases so far. What is this telling us, about the underlying price dynamics in Ghana?
Well, I'm not surprised because, there's always a trade-off, right? Ghana is currently Africa's biggest, largest producer of gold. And in fact, it's as a result of the elevated gold prices. That's why you're seeing Ghana's economy being blossomed. Where the exchange rate situation has improved, even inflation is coming down. But the trade-off is that if you go to the middle part of the country and the western part of the country, where a significant component of the country's food basket is, lands that are supposed to be used for farming are now being given to miners, and in fact, in some cases, illegal miners, and that is really, really affecting food production in the country. So, whilst Ghana is enjoying from the elevated gold prices, and that is actually causing some level of stability in the economy, the trade-off or the opportunity cost is that you also have lands that are being sacrificed. Lands that could be used for farming are now being sacrificed for mining. And in some cases, you have river bodies that are supposed to serve as source of water for some of these farmlands being polluted by illegal miners. In Ghana, we call them galamseyers. And that is also one thing that Ghana is battling against, and possibly the reason why you're seeing food items such as plantain and what have you that are supposed to be common staples for people, but even though inflation is coming down significantly to 5.4%, you still have these prices being elevated, and significantly it's as a result of illegal mining and fluctuating, weather conditions.
Right, sounds like the same story right here in Nigeria. But thank you so much, Isaac, head of research, Joy News. It was great having you. Thank you.
Great to be here.